So, do you remember a few classes ago we were sharing a story? I'd like to share it again because it's very really relevant for us in our connection with Srila Prabhupada. So, do you remember the story where Srila Prabhupada he was given massage by Shrutakirti Prabhu? And this was a very intimate time. He was alone with him. Mostly it was sometimes in the morning, but this particular time it was at night. And so Srila Prabhupada was massaged, and all of a sudden, he closed his eyes and he became in deep meditation, and then he started to speak with Shrutakirti. And you know what he told him? He said that my guru is a manjari, but myself I am a sakha. I am a cowherd boy. And I'd like to read to you also a poem that Srila Prabhupada wrote in the Jaladuta. He starts saying, "O Lord Krishna, you are my eternal companion." It says a lot here. "Forgetting you, I have suffered the kicks of many Maya birth after birth. If today the chance to meet you occurs again, then I will surely be able to rejoin you." Then he says, "Oh dear friend, in your company, I will experience great joy once again. In the early morning, I will wander about the covered pastures and fields, running and frolicking in the many forests of Braj. I will roll on the ground in spiritual ecstasy. Oh, when will that day be mine?" So who does that every morning? The sakhas. So Prabhupada here also, but directly he said to Shrutakirti Prabhu that he was a sakha. That's why today I wanted to speak a day in the life of a sakha, because it can help us to meditate more on Srila Prabhupada, that he is the sakha that he is in Goloka Vrindavan. There's so many other things also. Remember Govinda Dasi, she made a painting, and that famous painting where it was a drawing at the beginning, where Krishna and Balaram are in the front, the cows in the back, and she painted the Prabhupada in the form of a sakha there and sent it to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada never said anything against it. Or and during the early days, actually, many Guru Vyasa Pujas, many of his disciples will write about Prabhupada being a sakha also. There was a very intimate mood at that time. So, yes. Where to start? Okay, yes, let's start at the beginning. Today I wanted to speak about one day in the life of a sakha. So it starts when they are woken up. So who wakes up the sakhas from their dreams with Krishna and Balaram? Do you know who wakes them up?
Their mom?
Huh?
Their mothers?
No.
Cows?
No.
Are you sure that in Purnamasi?
No.
The
Where are they? Where are the card boys staying? Where is the residence?
Krishna, some of their homes.
Well, many
Varshana.
sakhas they stay in Varshana. Sridham Sakha stays in Varshana, but many sakhas, Subal Sakha stays in Varshana. Stoka Krishna. So yes, many sakhas. Some are in other places, but most sakhas they stay in Varshana, which is interesting. So okay, but oh yes, he knows it. What is it?
Balaram blows his bugle?
Yes, exactly. Thank you. Yes, that means you appreciate the sakhas, knowing that fact. So yes, Balaram he blows his bugle. The bugle? Yes,
Yeah.
bugle. And he bugs them. No, they're really happy to be woken up by the bugle of Balaram. So that's how they wake up. So what do they do all night long then? Do you think? I remember one time I was such a fool to think like that. And I was thinking, oh, it's so sad, the sakhas, they don't spend the night with Krishna. And I was such a fool to think like that. So what do they do all night long, the sakhas, before we start the day?
Dream about Krishna and Balaram.
They dream about Krishna and Balaram. And what's beautiful? What is a dream in Braj?
Same thing.
It's the same thing, but even deeper. Everything you have experienced throughout the day, you experience it again, but it goes even deeper. Then you wake up and you have this remembrance, this samskar of the night, and then you want to see Krishna again, and it is even deeper during the day. And then you sleep again at that time, and it is even deeper than during the day. And it goes forever and ever like that for eternity. This is Braj. That's why eternity is really special with Krishna and Balaram in Goloka Vrindavan. So yes, they dream, but throughout the day what they have experienced, but it's just very sweet. So then they are woken up by Balaram. So what did they do after? What happens after?
Wash their face and mouth.
Yes. Depending on the yes, usually. I mean, depending on the position of the sakha, for example, if it is Sridham or Subal, when they have a very important position in connection to Krishna and Balaram, or Radha and Krishna, then they have more servants in the house. The house is bigger, more servants, more attention, more this and that. Just like Krishna's bath is special, but the same for the sakhas also. But they all get a special bath in the morning. So, but yes, after that they go together. But there's so many sakhas. You have to imagine for a sec. If we want to offer justice to the sakhas coming together, how many sakhas are there?
Unlimited amounts.
Unlimited. I remember, like, I made an offense to the lotus feet of these sakhas. I was giving a class in our temple in France, and then I was saying there are thousands of sakhas, and my guru stopped me right there. He said, "No, there are billions of sakhas." Billions. And this does not offer justice. So yeah, imagine it's just, well, first of all, they live in Barshana. We know this principle of Yukteshvar, so they all have a group leader. And for example, just like Krishna, he has expansions from himself. How many expansions does he have, Krishna? I mean, expansions of his form that are manifested as friends in Goloka Vrindavan.
8.
8 expansions. And who is Sridham? He is the false ego of Krishna. Not the false, sorry, the ego of Krishna. Krishna doesn't have, we have a false ego, but he's the ego of Krishna. And, you know, he has 8 expansions like that, of his mind, of his this and that, you know. It's the same for other sakhas also, they have expansions. There's this number, it's really explained by the acharyas. So, important personality, they have expansions of 8 of their form that are different aspects, different moods of their own personality. And it goes like that. So, yes, so they go to meet their group leaders, and it's a very festive moment. And then, you know, like for example, Sridham Sakha, he has billions of sakhas under his group, and he has expansions of himself also. And then all the sakhas connected to Sridham, they go and meet together. All the sakhas connected to Subal, they go. And then at some point outside of Barshan, they all meet together. So there's an ocean of sakhas there in the morning. And they go like a wave. Wow, imagine billions and trillions and quadrillions of sakhas moving together. And don't think just Krishna plays the flute. They all play the flute. They all have a flute. And sometimes they like to compete with Krishna with the flute also. So imagine quadrillions of sakhas, an ocean of sakyaras like, going together towards Nandagram. And it's a very festive moment because they're in separation from Krishna and Balaram. And then they're just dancing and singing together and playing, you know, blowing on the bugle, playing the flute, and they make so much noise. And then they enter and they get to the gate of Nandagram. Have you ever heard about the gate of Nandagram? Who told us about the gate of Nandagram? A special personality. Gopa Kumar. And what did he say when he arrived at the gate of Nandagram?
Things beyond his imagination.
The opulence of the gate was so great.
By millions, by billions, he says. He was just at the gate. That I will never be able to describe it to you with words. Never. And he was just at the gate of Nandagram. Jai Nandagram Ki!
Yeah.
So the sakhas, they arrive and there's a beautiful gate, you know, that Gopa Kumari experiences very beautifully. And behind the gate there's a huge banyan tree that is like a guardian. And the sakhas, they really feel welcome because everyone is a person in Braj. And then they all, when they arrive, they really feel welcome by the special tree, and they get the blessings of this tree to go and have the darshan of Krishna and Balaram. He's giving their special blessings so that they can meet them. So they pass and, you know, they touch that tree, they hug that tree, and then they go together. And I would need more time, but I would like to describe what is Nandagram, but it's beautiful description also that is there in the Pure Bhakti Rasanava. Even Rishabhanupuri, Varshana is described in Pure Bhakti Rasanava. If you want more details about the sakhas, there's a beautiful book by Nayanandana Thakur, which I guess some of you have read. So, yeah, but it's more in connection with the Priya Sakhas in the group of Sudam Chandra. But it's a beautiful book on the sakhas. It's the Astaka Leya Lila of the Priya Sakhas in the mood of Sudam Chandra. So it's very beautiful book. If you're inspired about the sakhas, you should read that book someday. So they go into Nandagram, and there's a beautiful description. It is described that all the elderly gopis, they put beautiful mandala in front of. Sometimes it is with flower petals. Sometimes it is with pigments from the forest or from the caves of Govardhan, and they put like festoons or like flags, and they sprinkle the alleys or the paths with sandalwood, water, and so many different fragrances. So very beautiful. And as they come in, because you know they're very dear to Krishna and Balaram, and also the inhabitants of Nandagam and the villages surrounding, they're really happy when they see the sakhas coming to meet Krishna and Balaram. It's a very auspicious moment. So they're welcomed by all the Nandagam Vasis as they enter. And then they go into the courtyard of the palace of Nanda Maharaj. And what's happening at that time? Krishna is still in his room. Have you ever heard of the description of Krishna's balcony?
Mm-hmm.
Made of sapphire.
Yes, Krishna's balcony is made of full sapphire. Very beautiful balcony. So yes, Krishna is there. He goes back from the kunjas at night, and then he goes quick into his bed. But unfortunately, or fortunately, he still has Srimati Radharani's like sari on him, or sometimes it is said it is like arta. So then he goes into the bed sheets, and then Mother Yashoda, she comes. Madhu Mangal comes in, he jumps onto the bed to wake up Krishna. Because Madhu Mangal stays with Krishna. Just like certain manjaris, they stay always with Srimati Radharani and Java. While Madhu Mangal never leaves Krishna, he's always with him. So the Madhu Mangal is there, jumps on the bed. Subal Sakha comes in, some of the most important Sakha, Sridham, Subal, like that. And they try to wake up, Krishna, wake up. And they tease Krishna like that. And also, you know, Madhu Mangal, expert that he is, he cracks a joke at that time. So then Mother Yashoda, she opens the curtain. Well, first, Krishna opens his mouth and he yawns. And it's a very, very special moment because Yashoda Mayi, Rohini, they look at the beautiful teeth of Krishna at that time. It's a very special darshan, because his teeth are described to be just like jasmine buds. And then also there's a very special fragrance that comes from Krishna's mouth, because everything is pure in Braj, so there's no mode of ignorance. And what does Mother Yashoda do? She opens the curtain, and then there are the sun rays that passes through the window, and that are just like inundating Krishna's face. And it's a very special darshan for Krishna, because these sun rays, they are a manifestation of Srimati Radharani. And then Krishna wakes up like that. He's still in separation from the shock of being separated from Srimati Radharani. But then by receiving the sun rays, we're feeling, you know, like, how do you say, soothing in his heart, so that he can continue the day and continue the pastimes. So then Mother Yashoda, she takes care of Krishna, he comes in, and then there's a very beautiful staircase by which they go through. No, first, I forgot one thing. So what does Krishna do? He opens because imagine the ocean of sakhas that were there in the pasturing grounds, they are inside after that in the courtyard, and it's inconceivable. From the open air to the courtyard of Nanda Maharaj, they're all there. Everyone is there. This is Braj. There's nothing like it. And they're all there together, and they say, Kana, please, Kana, come down now, Kana, we want to see you. And they do like this. And then Kana, what he does? He opens the windows, there's like, and then there's the balcony, and he says, hey, I'm here. And then he gives them a very beautiful smile, and he winks at them like that. And then they say, oh, please come. So then Krishna comes down the stairway, and then he goes down with, Mother Yashoda, Madhu Mangal, Subal, Balaram is there. Very beautiful darshan. And we express something. What do most of the sakhas do when they all come down?
Blessings from Yashoda Mata.
Yes. Why? They receive blessings from Mother Yashoda. Why?
Because they are more connected to Yashoda also.
Because they are connected with Mother Yashoda also. Yes. So then different sakhas, according to their feeling, some of them, they embrace him, or crack a joke, or say something beautiful, or give a kiss, depending on the relationship that is there. then the sakhas, they reciprocate with Krishna differently. So what happens after that? Sorry? They go to Krishna. Yeah, so they go to Krishna, and then everyone is together. And now, what's the first sound they hear after that? The
cows mooing.
Yeah, the cows mooing.
Mhm.
Yeah, and they cannot stay indifferent to the love of the cows because they are their mothers also. It's interesting because when Krishna comes at night, Mother Yashoda, because he spent the whole day outside, she doesn't want him to go and milk the cows. She says, "You stay." And although the cows are mooing in separation from Krishna, because they can feel in their heart, because she's the original mother, she's the personification of Vatsalya Ras. So when actually they feel in their heart how much Mother Yashoda is separated from Krishna and she doesn't want him to go milk the cows, they stop mooing. And then they lower their head and they accept they're defeated by the love of Mother Yashoda. This is love. So then Krishna stays at that time. He's baited, and everything. Then the rest continues. But in the morning, Mother Yashoda, she can also feel the separation of the cows because she's a mother. So then they are hearing this mooing, and it is said that it is even more beautiful than the Vedas, than the recitation of the Vedas when the cows are mooing. And there's a specific in the I don't know if it is in the Prabhakti Rasanava, I think so. Yeah. There's a beautiful description that says that even one corner of a garden in Nandagam is more opulent than
All Vaikuntha.
all Vaikuntha.
That's a good guess.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So it shows you the opulence. There is opulence, but it is an opulence that is increasing the sweetness. That's the difference. Because it's very opulent also. If you look at the palace, I mean, walls made of like lapis lazuli and emeralds, like a sapphire balcony. It's very opulent. Even the Goshalas are really opulent. Now, there are descriptions of Goshalas also with, embedded precious stones and things like that. So it's just very, very beautiful. So then they all go together. So Mother Yashoda, she gives Krishna like a pot, not a pot, but a pot. A pot and a rope. So they all go together, and as they're walking together,
A bucket.
Sorry, yes, a bucket, a bucket.
And rope for tying.
Yes,
the legs of the cow.
yes, rope for tying the legs. So then they all go together, and it's a very beautiful. Krishna is very beautiful with Balaram and the sakhas. It's just fresh like the spring, and they're coming together to go milk their cows. Just very sweet. Then they go and walk like that together, and then they crack jokes on the way because they're sakhas. They're expert at cracking jokes. So then they all go together, at the Goshala, and it's a beautiful, really beautiful, like entrance to the Goshala. So what happens after that? What's next?
Milking the cows.
Milking the cows. But what happens first before the cows can decide to milk?
They choose which cow to milk and they tie the cow.
Yes, but there's something specific. We're speaking about sakharas here. But there's something specific is that actually Krishna, the cows will not give any drop of milk before Krishna, he milks his first favorite cow. That's always like that. Yes. So what does he do first, Krishna? He drinks himself directly from the other. Does that every morning. And then after that, they can milk the cows. And it's just very beautiful. Imagine all the sakhas together. But what's special also is that all the sakhas, they come at that moment. What do also? They all take care of one of Krishna's cows. So every morning, for eternity, each sakha is given a responsibility or a relationship with a specific cow of Krishna. Beautiful, no? Yeah, because so many cows are there. But this is the special, and they all have a unique relationship with Krishna's cow that they are reciprocating or taking care of. So then they go and they sit down, and it's just very. So they sit down and they have beautiful tool. What do you call it? A tool? No, like
Stool?
Stool. Yes, the beautiful stool embedded with precious stones. They sit. They put the bucket on there. And then they start milking their cows, and it's just a very beautiful sound. Imagine the sakhas, what did they do at that time? They sing the glories of Krishna and Balaram as they're milking their cows like that. And it's just very ecstatic. And the cows were mooing out of ecstasy. And after that, what happens? In between, when they are milking the cows, they're sakas. What do?
They spurt the milk at each other.
Yeah, they spill the milk at each other like that, and they try to throw it in their mouth. And what else? There's something else also.
They throw cow dung at each other.
Yeah, they throw cow dung at each other. But everything is a person. Imagine how ecstatic it is to receive cow dung from Goloka Vrindavan. It's just full of prema. So they throw this prema electrified cow dung at each other in the face, and then when they receive it, it's just they receive the prema from the cows, their love for Krishna and Balaram. It's just so beautiful. And then there's this war, and everyone is throwing milk and cow dung, and they're all like, dirty from head to toe. And then there's one Gopa, his name is Daruka. Do you know Daruka? Have you ever heard of him? So who is he?
I've heard of him. I've heard of him in the end of chapter 22 when Krishna's going to the forest with the cowherd boys.
Okay.
He's mentioned there.
Yes. Daruka is another Gopa, elderly Gopa, and he supervises. He has to. He supervises the milking of the cows, and then they all came. When he comes in, he sees them. They're just dirty from head to toe, and then they come at his feet, touch his feet, and then he's happy at that time. So what's beautiful is that Goloka, for what it is, definitely there's so much beautiful diversity. The milk is of different colors, different flavors, because we know from the story of the Damodar Lila, Mother Yashoda, she had two special cows, Krishna's two favorite cows. They went to a special forest in Govardhan where the grass was very sweet. And the milk that Mother Yashoda, she was boiling on that day at Damodar Lila, what was the flavor of the milk at that time? There's a special description. It was the flavor of red lotus. Yeah. So very special flavor. So the milk has different colors, different textures and everything. And what's very mystical is that they all put the milk together. Each milk is a person too. They all put the milk together. They all mix together, but when they divide to make preparations, mystically, the milk is divided into their different personalities, so that they can be that type of milk, that color, and this and that. Although they all mix together, imagine the joy of all these personalities in the form of milk that are bathing together in prema in that huge cistern. How do you call it? That huge
Cistern.
Cistern, yes, cistern. Citern, we say cistern. So then there's another Ligopa that comes in also with a bullock cart, and he brings all the milk. I don't know, it's like, I don't know how many gallons of milk it is, but mystically speaking, it arrives into the palace of Nanda Maharaj. So, but there's something that happens at that time. I mean, in between, as Krishna is making the cows, some gopis are coming. Have you ever heard?
Shrimati Radharani. There's Danishta's coming.
Danishta is coming. What does she do? Why does she come at that time?
She's coming to check and see what Krishna's doing.
Yes, exactly. She's like a special messenger, Danishta. And did you know that Danishta was a cousin to Krishna?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So basically, Danishta, she comes in with a few sakhis, and then she wants to see what Krishna is doing, because Radharani, she is in separation. So she has all these messengers that come so that she can get news 24 hours of the day of Krishna. So then Danishta, she passes, and then she looks at Krishna. Krishna, when he sees he is with the sakhas, but for those who have the eyes to see it, at that time he looks at the sakhis and he winks at them, and Krishna becomes very beautiful at that time. And his heart is stolen by the beauty of the gopis, and they go with his heart like that. So then that pastime is finished. What happens after this? So they all go together back to the courtyard, and something happens depending on the day, because every day is different. Although there is a specific schedule, every day there are different things that can happen. Sometimes also they wrestle at that time after milking the cow. Sridham, and close to the Goshala, there's a wrestling kind of arena where Sridham and Krishna, they wrestle at that time. Or sometimes they go back into the courtyard, and Mother Yashoda, she promises Krishna, Balaram, and the Sakhas to give them milk sweet if they dance beautifully. And then Krishna starts to dance with the Sakhas in the courtyard. Very beautiful dancing. And Mother Yashoda, she claps her hands. There's some musical instruments also. And she says, "Look, Nanda, look how expert Krishna is, how Kana is at dancing." They just do just like a rasa dance, but for gopas. Because in the Shastra, it is described, Krishna was dancing with the sakhas all day long, so much that he went through the day and night for like a day and night of Brahma. It was described, dancing with the sakhas like this. So then they dance very beautifully together. Mother Yashoda has so much praise, she gives them milk, sweets, and everything. So what happens after that? Something else is there in the Leela. The show must go on. So what's next?
Breakfast is coming soon.
Yes, breakfast is coming. Mother Yashoda in the morning she sends an invitation to all the sakhas, and all the mothers of Barshana, they know that Krishna, Mother Yashoda, she's afraid he will not eat enough, so she feels that if all the sakhas are there, then Krishna will be joyful to eat to full like satiti, for satisfaction. So imagine, and this is very beautiful. And for me, I have a material, like kind of like some scar of that. Is Harry Potter. For those who have seen this, like they are like in a big hall, and there's a huge long table because this is what there is actually. So the Harry Potter did not invent anything, or J.K. Rowling. So in the courtyard, they have a huge and very long table. So that must go for I don't know how long because there are billions of sakhas. This is just inconceivable. You have to experience it to realize this. So there's just a very long table and they all sit. So where do they sit, the sakhas? Because there are 6 different kinds of sakhas. We said that in one previous class.
Well, those who are elder, Balram,
Yes.
the elder ones, they stay on the right side.
No, in the front. The Siddhi
Is it?
sakhas in the front, yes. And on the right is?
I don't know. I know left side is
Left
the
what
pre.
Yes, left side, because
Yeah.
left side is the affair of
Heart.
the heart.
Yeah.
Affairs of the heart. Always they sit on the left. So just like Krishna is there, we were saying he's standing, and on the left is Shrimati Radharani. So the affairs of the heart stay on the left. So then on the right is Shuddham Sakha, the Priya Sakhas, and the front is Surit Sakhas, and also Nanda Maharaj is there. And we could share so many pastimes at that time because so much is going on. But something is very special with the Prasadam at that time. Why?
Special what? Prashad.
The Prasadam is really special.
You said that there were six
Really
steps,
special.
6 steps of sakhas.
Yes.
So you only told 3.
Okay.
It's good
Well,
to be better.
it's just described these 3, but others, I mean, okay, there's one type of sakhas, they're younger. For example, the Pranama sakhas, they are younger than the Priya sakhas. They are in between 11 and 13 years old.
Okay.
Like Subha Sakha is 12 years and a half. They're younger, just like the Manjaris. We're saying, Manjaris for Radharani and Pranama sakhas for Krishna. And then perfect combination. So they're younger, and because they're younger, also just like the Manjaris, we can see in their dealings with Radharani and with Radha and Krishna, they do like some special like menial services, just like making flower garlands. And the sakhas, they do that also, or the Pranama sakhas. For example, when they all play together during the day, the Priya sakhas usually are the one, or the Surit sakhas also, the older Gopas, they're the ones who are playing together. And the youngest, they're the Pranama sakhas, and younger even is a type of sakha, I don't recall the name in Sanskrit, but there's a younger type of sakha, they are more in the dasya rasa, in the mood of service. So they are in between 9 to 11 years old. Like Raktaka, Paktraka, they are that category. So they are younger and they have this attitude of like being servant, menial servants also. So, yes, where were we?
You said there's something special about the prashadam.
Yes, I did not get an answer yet. What's special about the prasadam? They all take together at that time.
Is it Radharani cooked it?
Yes, Radharani and the sakha is cooked. And every morning, the sakhas, they can partake of that beautiful offering of Srimati Radharani. And according to the feelings that they have, they receive and they experience the prasadam differently. For example, what is the experience of the Priyanama sakhas when they take the prasadam that is cooked by Radharani?
They experience her love for Krishna.
Yes, they experience her love for Krishna. Exactly. So each sakha, according to his bhav in relationship with Krishna and Radharani, for the Pranama sakhas, then they have a different experience of the prasadam. So very special time at that time. And then imagine like Radharani is there also. She's close by and she's looking at Krishna, and Krishna knows that Srimati Radharani is there. And there are always some special sweets that she makes for Krishna. In the morning when she's in Java, she makes some special sweets. But when Radharani cooks, she cooks with love. So imagine what is the experience of Krishna when he takes the sweets that Srimati Radharani, she has personally poured her heart, her feelings into each and every sweet. So the experience that Krishna has, and there's a secret there, is that Krishna is not able to eat anymore. Why? When he takes these sweets, there's one reason.
He's like stunned.
He's stunned. Yes. And not only that, yeah, it is. He is stunned. Yes, exactly. But something else is that the feelings he experiences are so deep that he has to retain his ecstasy. Otherwise, everyone will see that he is in love with Srimati Radharani. So when he eats, he has to go. And also, Srimati Radharani, she's accompanying him to the sweets. There's like an evolution of feelings, preparation to meeting each other. It's just gradually, each sweet is made to have a different and like an evolution of feelings and experience of Radharani, so that it prepare Krishna's heart to meet Srimati Radharani again. It's very, very beautiful. So then at that time also, because Krishna is just in too much ecstasy and he cannot show what is going on, but internally Srimati Radharani, she's accompanying his heart. Then at that time, Madhu Mangali has a special service then, because he doesn't want Mother Yashoda to know what's going on. So he cracks a joke. Oh, Krishna actually he's not feeling so good. He lost a golden doe in the forest, and he was looking after a golden doe, and he wants to bring it. It was a baby golden doe. He wants to bring it back to his mother. So, but he's speaking about Srimati Radharani. In Braj, languages are very like it's rasa is expressed a lot through language, and Madhu Mangal, the Pranama Sakhas, they have a very secret language by which they can. There's a lot of double meanings in the words that they use, and Madhu Mangali does that quite a lot, and he creates a special loving mood as he is joking, but then at the same time is directly speaking about Krishna's feelings. So this is the beauty of Raj, but everyone according to his bhav perceives these words in a different way also. So it's just really beautiful. So they all take prasadam together, and then there's so much description about how, the sakhas, they make fun of Madhu Mangal is like a brahmana. And then this is also, I think it's in the Govinda Lilamrita, it is described, yeah. It is described in different places, but the sakhas, they compare Madhu Mangal to a monkey. Because actually brahmana or nara can also be a brahmana or also be a monkey. And then Subhasaka says, what's the difference? Krishna, what's the difference between a monkey and Madhu Mangal? Because the brahmanas, they only eat roots of the forest, they are naked. They live in simplicity. And so what's the difference between Madhu Mangal and the monkeys? And they joke like that. And Madhu Mangal is described that when he eats, there's like there's a river of like kheer that is flowing down his cheeks and going onto his belly, and then they joke about the beauty of his belly also. I don't have all the details in the top of my mind right now, but it's just very beautiful, everything that is going on at that time. So then after that, yes, they have to go back, because this must be around like 8 o'clock, something like that. They have to go back to Barshana, the cowherd boys, because they have to take their cows. So they went alone to take, milk the cows, Krishna's cows, take breakfast. And then after that, they go back to Barshana, and Krishna at that time also, he rests a little bit. There's a Mohan Mandir, there's a beautiful temple, or a special garden where Krishna, he likes to rest at that time. And sometimes he felt deep separation from Srimati Radharani also in that garden. So, yeah, the sakhas, they go back to Barshana, spend some time with their family, and then they bring back all of their cows. So they all have a group of different cows, and cows, they have different colors. The sakhas sometimes also, they put some special colors on their hands, and then with the palms of their hand, they make different decorations on the flanks of the cows like that. So imagine for a sec. So there were billions of sakhas, but now there's quadrillions of cows with them. It's just unimaginable. So all the cows, they come together with the sakhas, and just this huge scene that is going on at that time. And then they all go together to Nandagram. And around 10 o'clock, yes, this is what is described. Around 10 o'clock, they meet at the gate of Nandagram. That's why it's a special place, because a lot is going on there at that gate. So what happens at that time when they go meet Krishna? Something very tragic is happening.
Yeah,
Oh,
separation.
The village.
Jivas is separation, start crying.
Yes, there's a deep separation at that time. So all the residents of Nandagram, they are there, and Mother Yashoda, Krishna is about to leave, she runs after him, And then she's arguing with him, saying, you know, Krishna, you don't need to go. Why don't you put shoes? You know, your feet are so soft, so sweet. You will hurt your soft feet with the pebbles and the thorns of the forest. And Krishna says, Mother, may yeah, but my cows don't have shoes. So if you want me to take shoes, then I should put shoes on all of my cows. So he says like that. So I said, don't worry, actually the forest of Vrindavan is very special, and when I walk, then the forest makes it sound very, very soft. Very sweet, very soft, like a flower petal. Don't worry, Mother. And then she says, but what will you do? There is the sun. And then she starts saying, you cannot go, okay, cannot? No, you cannot bathe in the lakes. You cannot go up the trees. You cannot stay so much in the sun. You cannot do this, you cannot do that. And then she speaks to Balarama. So make sure, Balaram, Krishna should not go up the trees. Don't play too much. Then she's starting to speak like that. You remember one time even Mother Yashoda, she was so much in separation from Krishna that she started to follow them. And she was at the edge of the forest. And what happened at that time? Balaram spoke to her. He said, Mata, you cannot come with us. We are in a different mood now, and it's not possible to come with us. I'm sorry, Mata. And then she had to go back, but she was so much in separation that she went up to the edge of the forest like that. So then they go into the pasturing grounds. So they go up they go in the pasturing grounds, and very special moment there. And Krishna actually something happens actually. Mother Yashoda, she doesn't want Krishna to go, but Krishna says, but what will happen to my sakhas, my friends? How they can survive throughout the day if I'm not with them? Do you think they'll be able to survive another day without me? And it says, what about my cows? Do you think they will survive my absence? And Mother Yashoda, she says, because in Braj there's no selfishness. And everyone wants to share Krishna, especially Mother Yashoda. So she says, although Krishna, I want to keep you with me always, and just I want to kiss you and embrace you, I know that the cows and the sakhas, they cannot live without you. And she says, it will make me even more happy if I let you go with them. So this is love. It will make me... But why? Because also she's in the heart of every sakha. So that's why she's kind of able to let them go. Because every sakha is present and doing something for Krishna. In that way she is present and she can accompany also. So they go into the pasturing grounds, and I had a few games I wanted to share with you. Okay, let me ask you first. What are the games that they do? The sakhas when they are in the forest.
Kabaddi.
What is that?
Kabaddi.
Kabaddi. It's like a tag.
Tag game, yes. They play tag.
The stick
Hide and
game.
seek.
Sorry, hide and seek. Yeah, definitely.
Tug of war.
Tug of war. You mean by the
The
river?
ropes.
Blind man's bluff.
Cops and robbers.
Sorry?
Cops and robbers.
Cops and robbers, yes. What else?
Games with the ball.
Ball games,
Veil-
all kinds
veil-
of ball games.
Veil fruit.
Yes. There's all kinds of fruit. Some are like, bouncing. So with that, sometimes they go into the water, the Yamuna, and they play with the ball in the water. And sometimes they play soccer also together, like different groups. And there's always two camps, and Krishna's camp and Balaram's camp. But there's something also, there are bullfights also.
Yeah.
So Krishna, yes, because Balaram, he has his own cows also. Just as he has his own sakhas, he has his own cows, his own bulls. And Krishna also. So for example, Yamuna is Krishna's cow, Havali, white cow is Balaram's cow. So then every morning, this is like that, there's an arena where the bulls, they fight together. And Krishna, he takes his strongest bull, and then Balaram also, and all the sakhas, they go around like this as an arena. And then they start to fight, and there's like not a circle, but there are trees, and if the bull pushes the other bull outside the limit of the trees, then the other one loses. And he gets to receive one cow. And then in that way, he fecundates that cow, and another cow comes in Goloka Vrindavan for eternity like that. That's how, the groups of cows, they expand like that. Every day. So then there's a huge fight, and the sakhas, they're shouting, wow, huge bulls, and then there's a big fight that is going on at that time. And then either Krishna's bull or Balaram bull is the winner like that. So what else? Which other games are there?
They climb on each other, like the pastime of Pralambasura.
Yes, they climb on each other.
And then they fight.
Yes.
Chicken fights.
Chicken fights in the water, they do that also. Sometimes they do outside or inside the water. Yes. And what's there's a referee in there. Who is the referee?
Madhumangal.
Mangal.
So what does he do?
Starts eating the ladus.
Yeah, starts eating the ladus. He always has a mountain of ladus like that, you know. And then he's trying to discourage one or the other group. But we heard recently that actually Madhu Mangal is, although he's a referee, Madhu Mangal is more on Krishna's side, huh? Because he's Krishna's very intimate friend. So that's why Madhu Mangal is not always the referee. So sometimes you have to discourage because he's on Krishna's side, you know, as Balaram teams, because they're looking at the ladus, you know, they fight, but to get the mountain of ladus. And then they're almost winning, Balaram and his friends, and they're playing tug of war like that. But as they see Madhu Mangal to, you know, make them lose concentration, he starts saying, let me try the ladus. And he goes like that, and he pops one and another one like that. And the sakhas, they look at Madhu Mangal who is popping up the ladus, and they say, no! And then they start to lose concentration, and one after the other, they fell into the water. So what happens when they fell in the water?
They lose.
They lose, but what do? There's all kinds of things they have to do when they lose in the game. When one member loses.
They have to watch them eat the ladus. I don't know.
Yeah, no, something else. Sometimes they croak like frogs. You know, they make animal noises like that. So then Balaram's camp is losing, and Krishna there, yeah. And what do? Because kind of like Madhu Mangal, he cheated a little bit because he was, you know, eating the ladus. So they take Madhu Mangal and they attach him to a tree, blindfold him, and they start eating the ladus in front of him like, oh, your ladus are so good. And they start, and then after a while, because they're dear friends to each other, then they start to feed Madhu Mangal like that also, some ladus. So what else? Other games are there.
Kite flying.
Sorry?
Kite flying.
Kite flying? Okay, you've heard that?
I'm guessing that. They have a festival for that in Braj.
Okay. Well, everything comes from Braj, so there's all kinds of games.
And also
You
color
know.
fight is there.
Color fights, Holi.
Holi.
Yes, this is Holi usually is more with the Sakis, but yeah, usually there's a special fight. We share that pastime,
Yes,
you know,
yes.
fight between the Sakas and the Sakis. So what else is there? Which other games?
Throwing mud
And there's
fighting.
one you forgot. There's
Mud-
one really important one. Huh?
Mud fighting.
Mud fighting. Yes,
Yes.
definitely.
Cow dung fighting.
Yes. What else? Think about it for a sec.
Wrestling.
Wrestling. Yes. Wrestling sometimes with clubs, with sticks. But when Krishna and Sridham they wrestle, it's something very special. Or when they wrestle with sticks, they throw the sticks in the air, and because the stick is a person, starts to do all kinds of figures into the air, like and then turning around like that. And as the stick is turning around, Krishna and Sridham they start dancing and making special poses like that at the same time. Very beautiful. And with the clubs also, it's just very special. They look like warriors, and they're very serious, and their faces, you can see, ah! And although it isn't sweetness, still, you know, it's very intense moment at that time. And the clashes, it's like lightning every time they hit each other. Very strong. So, what else? Sometimes Krishna, you know, is in the pond, like that, he's relaxing in the pond. And he is relaxing. Balaram, he comes from the back, and he blindfolds his eyes like that with his hands. And one of the sakas, he puts a bitter fruit in Krishna's mouth. Hey Krishna, I have a very special laddu for you. Please taste this. So he puts the laddu in his mouth, and then he eats the bitter fruit. He spills it, and then he makes a funny face. And all the sakas, they laugh like this. So many very beautiful pastimes. Sometimes also, like we see even what we do ourselves as kids. They blindfold one saka, they turn him around like that, and then the saka has to find the others like that. And they say, hey, I'm here, come and see me, catch me, catch me. Or sometimes they play tigers as they're tired. It's one game after the next in Raj. Because, you know, the moments in Sakaras are so intense, so strong that they could do it for eternity. You know, when we laugh for 5 minutes, but when they laugh, sometimes it can last 1-2 hours. So much there is ecstasy. 2 hours straight laughing like that, all together. So this is the beauty of Sakaras, very intense feelings they share together. So what else? Sometimes they imitate a tiger, and Madhu Mangal is like a chicken. Sometimes he's very afraid, and so Krishna he hides behind a bush and he starts imitating. But it's the real sound of a tiger. You know, this is the beauty of the mystical potencies that they have. Like he hides behind a bush and he starts imitating the real sound of a tiger. And Madhu Mangal he thinks it's a real tiger, and it's because he doesn't like to swim, so you know, he doesn't see any other way but the river. So he goes into the river, jumps into the waters, because usually tiger, they don't like so much water. Jumps into the water, and then Krishna comes out. I say, no, it was me. And they all laugh together, and then they all go swim together into the Yamuna River like this. So just very beautiful. Anything else?
The impersonate animals.
Sorry?
The impersonate.
The impersonate animals also. Yeah. Sometimes they make the frogs. Which animals?
Peacock.
Peacocks.
Does that.
Yes.
Peacock.
Sometimes they dance with peacocks also, the sakas.
Bulls. They become like a bull and they enter people's
Yes.
houses.
They what?
They put on a cloth of a bull or a cow and they enter people's houses and they break their pots of butter and everything.
Like bulls, like
Yeah.
that. Wow, beautiful. So yes, that's one thing they do. They steal. And did you know that, you know, in the Brahma Muhurta, do you know what Krishna does at that time when he's young? He's not with the Sakis at that time, he's very young. So what does he do at Brahma Muhurta, Krishna?
Still eat
Have
butter.
you heard?
Eat butter.
At Brahma Muhurta, they have a map, and he, Madhu Mangal, Subal, and some important sakas, they have a map of the whole town of Nandagram, and they have an X where the houses they have already stolen, and then they check which next one, which is the next house that they will steal, and then they have a whole plan with them because they have monkeys also. Krishna has even dogs, just like we have dogs here. With when you have a lot of cows, to direct the cows in the forest like that. So then they make a plan to enter into every house, and every house of Nandagram has already been stolen by Krishna and the Sakas. So like that in the morning they do like this, steal the houses. Sometimes also because Govardhan is a very special playground. And one thing I wanted to say is that why it's so important to hear about Braj, about these games, is because Vrindavan is the playground of God. And what do? They play for eternity. And what Prabhupada said about this world, it's a struggle for material existence. So that's another reason why we should be striving to go back home, back to Godhead, because we're meant to play for eternity with Radha, Krishna, or Krishna and Balaram, depending on the rasa that we have. But we know for certain that Srila Prabhupada is a sakha. He said it himself personally. So that's why it's beautiful to hear about the sakhas, because we can meditate more on the mood of Srila Prabhupada. Okay, sometimes they shout in wells. What do? They shout in the wells?
They shout curses.
Curses at each other into the wells. Bad words sometimes. All kinds of words, they shout. And then they laugh at the echo that is coming back also.
They sometimes climb the trees and shoot the pots of the gopis who are carrying milk products.
Oh wow, I never heard that one.
Shots.
That they climb up on the trees, and then when the gopis are passing by nearby, they come to know, they shoot and they break, or they steal the pots from the top to drink the yogurt and butter. They use a slingshot and they make holes.
Beautiful. Slingshots.
Yeah, and
That's
then
amazing.
they also grab the top pots, drink and eat from there.
That's
And when the
beautiful.
gopis complain, they say, "We're going to complain to your parents," and the gopis come back. Krishna puts everything back again.
Beautiful. Anything else?
There's that last pot also. The gopis are like protecting their last pot,
Yeah.
and Krishna then plays, I think, his flute, but like the fifth note of the flute. I
But
think.
yeah, that was Radha Kund.
And
That's what we heard from.
And it shatters the clay pots, and then the gopis are like, "All right, we've had it. We're telling on you." And then they come back, and everything's like perfectly fine.
You bad girls.
Yeah, you bad girls! You made us come all the way out here to try and put dirt on Krishna's name.
There's so many, like in between the sakas and the sakis, there's so many beautiful pastimes actually that are taking place. Let me share that one with you. I think you will like it. Just a second. Okay, we're speaking about Dana Lila, and there's one last pastime. Because there were two alternatives I wanted to share with you.
We have one more day of class, but Monday morning also.
Monday morning, but I think we're leaving Monday, no?
In the
Are we?
afternoon.
In the afternoon we're leaving? What time is it now? It's already 9:12, okay. So I guess we can finish for now.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, we'll
You
finish.
can continue Monday.
Yes, okay. Jai di Sakha Squee.
Jai.
Jai ni Tagora Pimanande.
Hari Hari Bol.